8.2 acres between the Atlantic Ocean and Georgica Pond, 500 feet of private ocean frontage, the last working boathouse remaining on the pond, a red clay tennis court with its own viewing terrace, and only 3 owners in over a century, the most recent of them a fashion designer named Calvin Klein. Most estates inherit a story they only get to borrow. This one keeps adding to it decade after decade, owner after owner. Welcome to 75 West End Road in East Hampton, and stay with us because the tower alone is worth the next 15 minutes. This residence was completed in 1894 by Laura Brevoort Sedgwick James, making it one of the oldest homes on the Georgica Dunes. In 1935, Juan Trippe, founder of Pan American World Airways, bought the compound and expanded it. In 1981, Calvin Klein and his wife, Kelly Rector Klein, took it over and brought in the French architect Thierry Despont for a meticulous transformation that balanced glamorous contemporary design against the original bones. The bones themselves are classic shingle style. Gambrel roofs, cedar shake siding, soaring beamed and coffered ceilings, imported French stone, custom millwork, a 4-car garage tucked into the lower level, and a footprint built for an era when summer houses were meant to last generations rather than seasons. New hurricane-rated windows, geothermal systems, and a full smart home retrofit sit quietly underneath all of that history, fully integrated security included. This house was not renovated once and left alone. It was inherited again and again by people who understood exactly what they had and updated carefully without erasing it. Across the deck sits the part of this property that photographs cannot fully explain, the tower. A curved staircase climbs past oval windows into a domed ceiling painted the color of midnight, lit from a single fixture at its center, the whole shape echoing the dome's own curve back down at you. Below it, a family room keeps its own wet bar, paneled entirely in book-matched wood beneath a herringbone ceiling laid in a chevron weave you don't usually find outside of custom yacht interiors. Above it, a private bedroom suite looks out over the dunes through a vaulted, beamed roofline with its own brick fireplace and a stack of firewood already waiting beside it. This is not a guest wing tacked onto the main house. It's a retreat built inside a retreat, designed for someone who wanted a place within the house to actually disappear to, not just a spare room, but a separate world with its own staircase and its own sky. On the pond side of the property sits the last working boathouse remaining on Georgica Pond, a piece of Hampton's infrastructure that mostly exists in old photographs now. A moon gate porch frames the water beyond it, cedar shingle curving into a perfect circle around the view, with a wooden bench tucked just inside the opening for the moments you actually sit still, and a stone water trough nearby for cutting fresh garden flowers. Owners here take sunrise walks on the ocean beach and sunset paddles on the pond, often on the same day. Very few properties anywhere give you both bodies of water within a single afternoon, let alone a structure built specifically to launch a boat onto one of them. Step inside, and the entry makes its case immediately. A 2-story metal-clad fireplace anchors the foyer, rising past a railed gallery on the floor above where a wall of collected pop art hangs in plain view of anyone walking through the front door. The floors are original wide plank pine, dark with more than a century of use, running unbroken from the entry straight back toward the ocean-facing rooms, and a young olive tree sits podded by the fireplace as if it has always lived there. That's the kind of detail builders cannot replicate today. Wood milled this wide simply isn't available anymore, and the patina takes 100 years to earn honestly. The living room is topped by a glass catwalk, a literal bridge of glass suspended above the seating area, connecting one wing of the upper floor to the other. Brick fireplaces anchor both ends of the room. Floor-to-ceiling windows on the ocean side mean the room rarely needs artificial light during the day, and the original wide plank pine floors carry the same dark, worn finish found throughout the lower level. A mid-century chair sits angled toward the windows rather than the TV, which tells you something about what this room was actually designed for. Picture a Wednesday afternoon here, the doors open, ocean air moving through, nobody checking a phone. That's not a staged photograph. That's just what the room does. Every day the weather allows it. A screened-in porch wraps the ocean side of the house, usable from spring through fall, regardless of what the wind or the bugs are doing that day. One level up, a rooftop terrace looks out toward the pond and the preserved land beyond it, furnished for everything from morning coffee to a late dinner under string lights. And just past the lawn, a red clay tennis court sits behind brick walls, complete with its own viewing terrace for spectators and a backboard for solo practice. This is not a court squeezed onto leftover land. It was planned as its own destination, with the kind of buffer and privacy most backyard courts never get. Entertaining here runs on 3 separate kitchens, a main kitchen, a prep kitchen, and a staff kitchen, equipped with Le Cornue, Viking and Sub-Zero appliances. Coffered ceilings and pond views carry through the main kitchen, while a sunlit breakfast nook handles the mornings nobody wants to dress up for. Lemon print pillows and all. Down the hall, a tea room finished in gold-tone paneling and stained glass offers a quieter alternative to the main rooms, proof that even a house built for large gatherings still made room for one person to sit alone with a book. A chic bar and lounge keeps refreshments within easy reach of all 3 kitchens, without anyone having to cross the main entertaining floor, paneled in the same warm wood that runs through the tower below. The formal dining room sets a different tone entirely. Sage green walls, an antique tiled stove standing in the corner, like a piece of inherited furniture. A fireplace of its own warming the far wall, and windows on 2 sides facing the ocean. This is the room built for the dinners that get talked about afterward, not the ones rushed through on a Tuesday. The owner's suite takes the entire upper level of one wing. A fireplace, 2 full bathrooms, 2 walk-in closets, and direct access to a private deck facing the water. One bathroom holds a freestanding soaking tub, positioned for ocean views from the moment you sit down. The other keeps a pedestal sink and vanity arranged around a private exterior door of its own, with a separate shower and a vintage hand shower fixture on the tub. This is not a bedroom with a nice view attached to it. The view was the starting point, and the room, the whole wing, really was built around it, down to which way the bed faces. A second living room, more casual than the formal spaces downstairs, keeps its own exposed brick fireplace and navy lacquered bar cabinetry, with glass doors opening straight onto a private deck above the water. Upstairs, a long gallery hallway doubles as an art corridor hung with pieces collected over decades of ownership, each one different in scale and style from the next, with built-in cabinetry and a window seat tucked along the route. Walking it feels less like touring a house and more like walking through someone's actual accumulated life. 3 secondary suites occupy this side of the house, each positioned to catch its own water vista, the pond on one side, the ocean on the other. Round porthole windows turn up throughout this wing, a quiet architectural echo of the property's nautical history and its decades under an aviation pioneer's ownership. A built-in window seat upholstered in blush velvet sits beneath one of them, exactly the kind of corner a kid claims as their own within the first week of moving in. Baseball glove and all. A study and a set of wraparound decks complete this floor, giving the whole wing its own private outdoor circulation separate from the primary suite. None of these rooms feel like an afterthought. Each one earned its own water view. Here's the trade-off worth naming directly. The main residence runs nearly 9,000 square feet, modest by the standards of a property at this price point, and noticeably smaller than newer construction nearby. That's not a shortfall. It's the math of buying land and water frontage on the Georgica Dunes, where 500 feet of ocean and a buildable parcel next door account for most of the value before you've opened a single door. The lower level is only partially finished, left that way deliberately rather than maximized for square footage. You are not paying for square footage here. You're paying for a stretch of coastline that essentially does not come up for sale anymore. And for a chain of ownership most properties simply can't claim. Step back and the whole compound comes into focus. 2 parcels totaling just over 8 acres. The main house, the tower, the boathouse, the tennis court, the gardens, the fountains, the outdoor shower for rinsing off sandy feet before anyone walks back inside. On the adjacent 1.89-acre parcel, approved architectural plans already exist for a 3-story residence with its own garage room to expand the compound without touching what's already here, or simply room to keep as open land. 130 years after it was built, this property is still being handed forward, not torn down and started over. That continuity is rarer than the ocean frontage, and arguably worth more. So tell me, the boathouse on the pond, the tower with the blue dome, that screened porch, or the tennis court behind the brick wall? Which one would you actually use the most? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And if you want to see properties with this kind of history and this kind of frontage every week, hit subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.